Been in politics for a long time, and I'm not used to hearing much new out there in the streets. But when I was doing some reading, I came across a new type of politicking. It's called Sidewalk Socialism, and its heart may very well be in small town Massachusetts. A little over a month ago, my next guest won a local city council seat in Somerville, Massachusetts, with backing from the Democratic Socialists of America. Here's a bit of the ad that helped get him elected.
The affordability crisis in Somerville didn't start with COVID-19. While the rich get richer, small businesses shut down and people get pushed out of our city. If we're going to end the crises of economic, racial, and environmental injustice, we have to see new possibilities for equitable growth by putting the power in the hands of the people.
27-year-old Willie Burnley Jr. won a seat at the table, along with another candidate backed by the DSA. Joining me now to talk about how we define sidewalk socialism and to tell us about his priorities as he enters office is Somerville at-large councilor-elect Willie Burnley Jr. Willie, welcome to Amplified. We have to start with your definition of sidewalk socialism. What is it?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor. And sidewalk socialism is all about how we bring power back to residents by meeting their needs through the power of government. It's about making the human rights that so many of our residents need critical to public services. And it comes from the term sewer socialist, which was termed in the early 20th century by previous elected socialist leaders in this country who saw that their city was rotten. It had trash everywhere. There was sickness. And what they decided to do was to invest more by building up the sewer system, one of the first in the country. And in doing so, they actually improved the health of the residents, they improved the education system, and they were able to make people's lives better by removing privatization from the mix and making human rights a public good.
Now, you campaigned on housing and public safety. Talk about your personal struggles with housing and how they informed your campaign.
Yeah, it was the cornerstone of my message to people. And it's funny, it makes me think of the old term 411, you know? In my case, 4 years ago, I got displaced from Somerville when my rent went up hundreds and hundreds of dollars at the same time that there were massive layoffs going on. And at the time, I didn't know where to turn to. There was no organization in our local government that was really working with renters or residents to keep them in their homes. And I took that energy and that anger and that anxiety that so many people in my city are feeling right now because of COVID and the massive layoffs that are going on even to this day. And I talked to them about how we need to make housing a human right and how we need to be fighting like hell to make sure that people are not getting pushed out of their homes.
Oh, you also actually were an advocate for public safety. So as the founder of Defund SPD, tell us about how you changed the funding stream of the Somerville Police Department. All this before you'd been elected.
Yes. So over a year ago, back in 2020, while I was actually working on Senator Ed Markey's reelection campaign, we all remember the tragic losses of so many lives in our country due to police violence. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade. And as I was grappling with how we can make this country better on the national level, I was hit so hard by these deaths and watching the videotapes of some of them that I knew I had to do more. And I had to take all the organizing experience that I had and actually put it to bear on this critical issue of police accountability. And so I got together with my neighbors in Somerville, and we founded a group called Defund SPD. And ultimately, we were able to, through calling our elected officials, emailing, getting thousands of people involved in the process, move a little over $1 million out of our local police department and putting into housing, healthcare, local jobs, in resources that actually make people safer and their lives run more smoothly.
Now, am I correct when I say that there will now be 4 Democratic Socialists of America backed council members on the Somerville City Council? I'm curious,
Yes.
what is in the water in Somerville, Massachusetts, that DSA is doing so well there?
Well, the local chapter of DSA has a lot of its members in Somerville. That's a big head start. But it's not just Somerville. When we talk to people at the doors and we say, you know what, you're right, your rent shouldn't be skyrocketing. It shouldn't be that you're struggling to keep your kids in school and give them the kind of future that they deserve. We need to deal with climate change. These are issues that everyday, ordinary people all across this country can relate to. And we find as socialists, when you talk to people about their material needs, it connects and it crosses so many different lines. So Somerville is a historically working class community that's going through massive gentrification and has for the last 10 years. And so people are really feeling it here that their neighbors that they've known for years are leaving one by one, and condos that are millions of dollars are popping up in their place. And they know we have to do something in order to make sure that our community can stay a vibrant and diverse place economically, as well as racially.
And you are a reflection of all of the diversity. I understand that you are the first queer, BIPOC elected official in the city's history. And I'm wondering if the importance of your win has even had a chance to sink in yet. And what does your election say about the voters there and in general?
Well, it's funny you say that because it actually didn't sink in for me until after I won. Um, Growing up, being a Black person in San Diego, California, where I'm originally from, I didn't think as much about it. And I really was not in the environment to really explore my queerness in the way that I would have liked to. And so being able to be an example for so many people and the young folks who've come up to me after the election and given me their congratulations, it really just means the world to me to know that the children in Somerville who are actually predominantly BIPOC will get to know that there are representatives that look just like them, that queer folks will have representation on this council, and that we're going to fight like heck to make sure that all of our needs are met.
So you are 27 years old and have already been engaged in politics for a few years. You worked for both Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey's campaign. So I want to know, do you have aspirations for a very long lifetime career in politics?
Well, longer than I've been engaged in electoral politics, I come from the standpoint of an organizer doing grassroots work. When we organized to move money out of the police department locally, we didn't have any groups backing us. We didn't have any money. We weren't connected to any established powers. We just went straight to the people. And that's the kind of leadership that I think we actually need now more than ever, is to say it's not good enough to be a good politician or a good elected leader. You actually have to partner with movements for justice in order to have transformative change and meet people's needs. And so I'm so much more focused on how to actually do the things I ran on right now, and getting the bearings of elected office for the first time than what the next national cycle is going to look like, in my involvement in it.
I do want to talk about what it is that you ran on and what you got planned. You have a Somerville Green New Deal. So talk about that and whether you have any hope that a national Green New Deal will get some traction.
Absolutely. This is something that I and thousands and thousands of other young folks have been organizing around for years. It was actually a month after I left Senator Elizabeth Warren's 2018 campaign that I went down to Washington, D.C. with over 1,000 young environmental activists with the Sunrise Movement. And more than 100 of us were arrested in congressional offices, pushing our national leaders to actually put the pieces together for a national Green New Deal. And I am still committed as ever, if not more, to us dealing with the issues of climate change through cutting our emissions, and that means retrofitting our old buildings on the local level, through building more resiliency into our cities and to our rural communities, and centering racial justice and job programs in that, because we know that the people who are on the front lines of these struggles are BIPOC folks, are low income folks who need support from their government in order to live healthier lives and to be more economically robust. And we can do that by tackling all of these issues in one.
City Councilor-elect at large Willie Burnley Jr., congratulations, bruh. I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Amplified.